Hi, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for making time and joining this conversation. So, I think since 2019, it's the first time we are doing this kind of an interaction, and I believe you are also interacting with us in this format for the first time. The purpose was to familiarize with the branch operations at the Borivali branch and also walk you through our underwriting process. So, in terms of presentation, we are going to refer to slide number 32 of our corporate presentation, which is already available on the website. From Capri Global, let me just have introduce ourselves. So I'm Ravikant Bhatt. I handle investor relations. Sandeep Kotian is our DVP for zonal operations. Bhavesh Prajapati is our head of credit risk and credit policy. Sheetal represents Go India Advisors, who's our external IR agency. Why don't you just introduce your name and the firm you represent?
Yeah, myself Prashant Kumar and from Sunidhi Securities.
Hi, I am Matt Mistry from BNK Securities.
Vidisha from Antique Stock Group.
So what we'll do is we will so Bhavesh, Sandeep will open the interaction. Maybe we will have a quick walk through the branch also. As it suits, maybe we can do it in the end after the Q&A is over. We will keep it mostly a freewheeling discussion. Sandeep will open and he will give his perspective, give the perspective on how the operations are run over here. Followed by Bhavesh will speak on credit underwriting, FC, legal, technical. And although we don't have a Sandeep can handle operations
Now
part.
to talk about your background, Sandeep, before you.
I take care of the entire operations for West. So I'm zonal operations. I've been with Capri for 5 years now. So prior to Capri, I was part of ICICI Bank for 9 years and Kotak Mahindra Bank for almost 4 years. And since past 5 years, I've been taking care of the operation piece as well as the customer care in Capri. On branch banking, we have a separate set of branches across Pan India. So we have a spoke and a hub model. When I say spoke and hub, it's basically hub is basically from where the entire disbursement happens. That is, once all the documents are collected, all the documents are segregated, the sanctioning happens, decisioning happens through credit, and once all these documents are collected and detailed NDC, that is non-discrepancy checklist happens on this particular documents, then the disbursement of that particular loan happens through the hub branches. So the spoke branches would be basically from where the connect, as we were saying, that is, it would be the tier 1 cities wherein we would be having our branches, but tier 2, tier 3 cities where the customers are located at. We have, say, in case if I have to say for Bombay, we have 2 branches, that is Borivali and Thane, and we have one more spoke branches which is at Virar. So we cater to home loans and LAP customers, that is loan against properties. I am a part of operations. The entire cycle as to right from onboarding of a customer till the time the customer pays back the entire loan and moves out, we will go through the entire cycle itself. So, sir, you may take the liberty to start from the business origination.
So before we start discussion about end-to-end process, let us understand the customer profile, because this process we have developed so where we can deliver our customers, as I mentioned, those we are informal, not having thick banking and not covered under GST and ITR. So these are small businesses or individuals. They are running their own businesses, not in a very formatted kind of structure, but in a very informal environment. So for example, as I mentioned, that dairy owners or mechanics or itinerary owners, right, or that beauty parlor, that woman are running beauty parlor or sari shop or any garment shop or provision store owners. So these are the businesses which we are funding. Now obviously, since this customer are lacking on certain data, means this data are not publicly available on certain domains, or they are not having a footprint on a digital media. And plus they are not having any documentary that income supported by some strong documents like ITR or GST, income tax returns or GST. So now for our challenge or our USP, you can say that we need to assess, we need to generate data, or we need to create a profile of a customer by visiting, by making various attempts to the customer's premises for financial analysis or their income assessment or their net worth verifications. So there are multiple visits are required. So I always say this is touch and feel model, right? So this is not 100% digital, but this is a phygital, because it's a mix of two things. Obviously, cost. This is the most important factor that we need to maintain at a lower side. So hence we are embedded that digital process into our loan journey for a process efficiency, and for data generation, or for that this credit decisions purpose, that my credit team or my technical team or my FCU team, that is RCU team, so they will do a field visits and verify customers' credentials. So since this multiple touch points involved to assess the customer financial strength, customer background search, because finance-wise customer is excellent, but ultimately his background, for example, is politically affiliated, then definitely there is a risk. If customer is having a great financial habits, but he is over leveraged in the market, though you can see a lavish bungalow, but ultimately that there is a huge that's in the market. So my RCU teams play a very important role to find out any this kind of threats in a credit underwriting process. So that is how by keeping that touch point, importance of customer touch point, we have end-to-end process from business origination to collection. So business origination, that is 100% in-house. We have in-house team that is relationship manager. Relationship manager are feet on street. They are meeting the customer. They are the first person who are interacting with the customers. They are collecting documents, collecting data on mobile. Obviously, we have a mobile app where they will collect all the data and they will capture images of the documents so that that application form can be generated digitally. So earlier we used to fill that physical application form. Now it is completely digitalized. So I say phygital. So we try to augment our processes by introducing certain easy to implement technologies, so that customer experience and our internal customer experience can be improved. So this application is generated on mobile, and then he will submit this entire application to my credit desk. So that is the reason we have mentioned that it's a DST model, since that sourcing through internal channels, and your reliance on internal channel is always higher as compared to external channel like DSA or connectors or that consultants, because they always tutor the customers. Whereas my internal team are properly trained on my own products, so they can give a proper communication to the customers. My customers can get a proper knowledge about products and various charges involved for the loan they are looking for.
So you want to refer to that digital banking stuff, the sales mobility,
So in sales mobility, as you mentioned, so there is a various controls we have put in. So like digital banking, where you will capture that bank statement, pages of the bank statement. So that scanned document we can share with our external vendor. And earlier we used to do that banking analysis from a physical, that eyeballing of all the documents and then preparing in Excel. But now it is fully automated. So I am just sharing the document.
So we are just moving towards having it digitized. So even the geotagging, once a field officer visits the customer's place, even the geotagging is done. So I know that this person has visited this particular place at so and so time and so place, and he has filled up this particular details.
Okay.
And sir, वो सिबिल वाला सिबिल सेल्स मोबिलिटी से सिबिल भी trigger
So
होता
this has started since how long?
So-
The digitized.
So sales mobility we have started after COVID, that is in 2020, because COVID is the best relation in life.
very true.
Right, many of the processes converted into digital to avoid face-to-face contact with the customer. So this is sales mobility is invention is during the COVID situation. Similarly, that banking analysis where my this is again after recovery of COVID, where business was picking up, and we found that we need to digitize this process. So we have implemented somewhere into 2021. So we are just
You mean scanning of the bank statements?
yes. So that bank statement is shared with the vendor. Vendor will convert those data or that through OCR technology, and they will give you that pre-formatted data in some logical manner, so that you can take a faster credit decisions.
Just to interrupt, sir, have you registered with account aggregator to
Aggregator?
minimize the all bank statement data and
Aggregators?
Yeah.
So we are into process of discussion with two vendors. One is Novel Pattern, and second is actually today I had a meeting with them, but because of this meeting I need to cancel that meeting. So I am having that meeting on Friday. So-
Which two one you have named?
So one is Novel Pattern. Novel Pattern is middle vendor. Actually, he is a connector between the two. Ultimately, CAMS.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean the
So-
CAMS has just started very.
Yes.
So there are I think so 8, 9
So
account
8, 9
aggregators.
banks they have, but SBI is still out of this group. SBI is not signed up for aggregation, but because even SBI is having their own process and they will take some time. But PSU banks, largely PSU banks are part of now aggregator services. So we are exploring those possibilities, and if it is happening, it's this is the best thing, because I need not to ask that 12 months bank statement. I simply share some basic
Ultimately, it
details.
is
Aggregate
on
data.
transparency side also.
Correct. So that fraud, that chances of fraud or any fabrication of the documents, fudging of document, that can be avoided through aggregator services. So that is on the shelf, and we are exploring those possibilities. So that is how we are trying to automate our processes by introducing that the most critical requirement. So instead of inventing that entire ecosystem, that IT infrastructure, we are implementing our own needs wherever we feel. Okay, this is the most required support, and we are trying to implement over the time, and that is the best I believe method to achieve digitalization. Otherwise, sitting on an AC room and just envisaging various things, which is not practically possible. But here, let's say analysis of bank statement. I have my own formats. I have own my triggers. Everything I have in place. So I need to give those requirements to the vendor, and vendor will give me the output which I can validate with my live scenarios. So that is the most advantage to build that IT infra in a piecemeal instead of inventing the entire ecosystem.
Yes, I think so. The fintech will in next 4-5 years. I mean, all financial company will convert to technology company.
That is the future, brother. See, cost
Need of
is
the
killing
time
everyone.
is.
Yes.
Cost is killing everyone, right? Because
Technology only can save it.
so and technology is the only option.
Yes.
If I want to process let's say one bank statement, it will take at least 2.5 hours. And if I am sending that bank statement to the vendor, he will share that end-to-end tag is hardly 5 to 10 minutes. So see the productivity, then impact on the productivity. So and chances of errors in a manual environment is huge, whereas this is a 100% error-free process.
Yes.
So whatever that EABB calculations, that is okay, near to 100% accuracy. So this is the advantage of technology. So business of that origination we have seen. And then after that business origination, next part is credit underwriting process, where my credit underwriting team comprises of credit officers and branch credit managers. So they are doing all due diligence on the files sourced by relationship manager and branch managers. So they will do various type of verifications. As I mentioned, we need to create a profile, right? See, currently the bank is ignoring, or that large housing finance or large NBFC are ignoring because they are not having sufficient data. And now my challenge at this stage, we need to gather the data which is scattered across all the corners of the let's say business place, references, suppliers, buyers, his vendors, right, or his bank statements. So then I need to create a profile, and for this we need to do various verifications. So field investigations, bureau check, online verifications, credit PD, residence verification. So there are various type of verifications we need to perform. And after this, he will prepare a very exhaustive, very lengthy that credit memorandum, CAM sheet. So it will cover that is 360-degree overview of the customers. So what is his residence vintage, employment vintage, his total experience, his net worth, his saving habits, investments, his total family members, dependent, earning members, so many things involved in the CAM sheet, right? And after this, that credit decisions will happen. So we have a vertical structure here. So to avoid any conflict of interest, so we have vertical structure. So sales is responsible for sourcing, and credit is responsible for credit underwriting. So that that proper decisioning, proper
just go through on the recovery side, because that is the part I think everyone is pinch up on that. Okay, so on Surface and all, what is the setup over here?
So this is Surface for NBFC, CGCL, more than 20 lakhs, loan amount more than 20 lakhs is covered under Surface. Below 20 lakhs is not allowed. And for home loan, that is loan amount more than 1 lakh, Surface is applicable.
More than home loan?
More than 1 lakh in other home loan.
Okay.
LAP is more than 20.
LAP is more than 20. So now, before jumping to collections,
Yeah, the credit.
because credit is ultimately risk management. How we are managing the risk, right? And in risk there are two major risks. One is credit risk management, second is fraud risk, and third is operation risk. So, but the killing factor is always credit risk management and fraud risk management. If let's say there is a fraud of 10 lakhs or 25 lakhs, it's a huge loss to us.
Yes.
So we are very, very concerned at the origination stage itself that our fraud risk should be minimal or zero, near to zero. Zero is not possible because human mentality always try to take advantage of the system. But we have a very robust risk containment unit framework where we have a separate team apart from credit. So credit are doing their basic due diligence, and parallelly that risk team is also visiting customers, doing some groundwork check.
Just to interrupt, credit team, you mean the branch manager and relationship manager? They are doing.
So branch manager and relationship manager are a sales part, sourcing team, and credit team is different from branch manager. So branch credit manager and that credit executives. So these are separate team, and risk team. This is the third team. Correct?
So just getting to the business origination part again. So these RMs, how do they approach the customers? I mean, which customers do they approach?
So
I mean, it's an on-field job, right? You said there is no one here right now.
So they will do multiple activities on the ground. So first of all, they will have their own network of chartered accountants or builders, connectors. So they have their own networks. So they will always be in touch with them, and they will do a daily calling to them so that
So these
they will
people,
get the
if
business.
they won't be having any ideas or GST, then how the CAs like how are these customers in touch with the CAs?
See,
Or are
normally, yes. So see, normally this CA in the sense that income tax consultants, I mean to say, right? And again,
Apart from this,
in
there is
India,
mouth-to-mouth publicity which happens. The kind of customers we have, it's normally most of the mouth-to-mouth publicity is basically, yeah, I have taken loan from Capri. So now, if somebody else wants, so I would refer him to Capri saying that, okay, the RM I know the relationship manager. He is in touch. So the bond between the relationship manager and the customers are to such an extent that he is bound to refer this customer to Capri.
But again, that would be very less. Like the referrals would be very minimal.
Referrals in that case, because of the tier 2 cities and the tier 3 cities, the referral will be more comparatively with what we have in the metro cities.
Okay.
Because there the relationship within a village or within a town, the kind of relationship you have, it's basically, even if you default, the word of mouth travels faster than हाँ ठीक है वो default किया है.
but see, still, though we say yes, online platforms, and there are so many financial literacy around from RBI side, but still, you must have seen in your neighborhoods that so and so finance consultant, so and so loan consultant, right? So, and still people coming to branch as a walk-in, they will prefer some segment of the population. They still depending on consultants. They perceived, okay, these are the main door to enter into the that financial services part. So they will contact either this type of consultant. So this market exists still. That is why Andromeda, that is why that Square Capital, they are doing a good businesses, even for affordable segment. So this is how they are doing. Plus they are doing all that pamphlets of distribution. They are doing kiosk setup or certain locations like market location. Let's say on Saturday they are setting up kiosks at retail market, weekly market, so that all the merchants can be given that information about the products. Sometime in school, sometime in bus station, wherever, right? In interior part. So they will have one day marketing activity, so that inquiries can be generated from masses. So that is how they are trying to generate leads.
So what is the team size?
So RM is around 900 plus, and BM we have around 300 plus.
So actually I was going to ask, so why don't we use the DSA network, and we are only totally dependent on the in-house team? So since Andromeda has such a large network, or other DSAs, maybe if the word of mouth would spread even faster than.
Correct.
Yeah. So why are we not going through a DSA path?
So as I mentioned, DSA is having their own objectives. Ultimately, let's say our experience is business through DSA, where customer stickiness with the company is lesser as compared to business source directly from the market. Because after 12 months, the same customer will be a blue eye boy for everyone, for SBI, for HDFC, for you name it.
So you are
Because he is having CIBIL.
So you are saying Andromeda itself may source a different loan from a different lender for them?
Yeah. After 12 months.
That's typical. It's
after
basically with
12
the
months,
industry how we run. So even with the banks as well.
Has been happening.
Yes.
After
Now
12
DSA
months.
Because with the business to within 12 months they would just
Andromeda will say, yes, you have completed 12 months. Do you require any loan? You are getting also so many calls every day. Sir, you are having one car loan. Do you want any top up? So this is DSA only.
So this should be taken as more of a hypothetical example, since on the record we have mentioned a DSA that we mostly don't work with, but take it more as a hypothetical example of DSAs and what we think of DSAs and our past experience. So we moved from that model to the direct sales team model as of today.
But yes, for metro, we are looking for this opportunity where with a large DSA or CSA kind of structure, but not with a small DSA.
Okay.
So
only for metros.
Like Mumbai and Delhi. Right? But in a small city that we have a branch, we have a proper team.
Yeah.
So we are relying on our internal sourcing itself.
How many branches do we have?
100 plus.
117 as of March. So our medium-term target is to add another 100 to this 117 network for the MSME and housing piece. And we have talked about 1,500 branches for gold loans, which is separate. And those would be exclusive and may have certain cross-sell opportunities which we will explore, obviously, but that requires a more dense network. So that's how it's been thought about. But for the MSME and housing piece, we are looking at another at least 100 branches over the next 4 to 5 years.
How many files do we get? Like each branches, how much monthly files? How much do we get with this sourcing model that we are doing now?
So on an average, see, in a normal scenario, we can say around 4,000 to 5,000 files.
Okay.
4,000, 5,000 files we are having as a login.
And how much actually we land up like giving loans out to?
So around
So this is
1,500
this
files.
is yearly you said, right?
Monthly.
Monthly. And around how much?
1,500 files.
1,500 to 1,000. March we have 1,000.
March is a very unique
that's
time. So
okay.
we can't benchmark with March.
March to any other
Yeah.
month.
So then out of the 117 branches, all are on the back side of or on the road side itself also, because since we have an in-house team already working, if the branches are opened on the road side, don't you think it will add even more advantage? Then
So see, all the branches, they will be in a very market location only. Yes, this is not at the ground floor, but first floor or second floor, because walk-ins are limited, right? So but yes, branch will be on a very upscale market only, where for that customer footfall in the market is huge, and visibility of the brand should be proper. This is the
Basically into the financial.
Otherwise,
Say
if I-
for Indore, we had it in the main, where we had every other.
Indore is again a regional office, so definitely it's a different thing. Let's say this branch, but this is not road facing branch, right? Okay, this is your point now. This is not a road facing branch. But see, Borivali branch typically, this is like a processing hub, right? Here customer footfalls are limited, and we have here 2 branch managers and around 7 RMs. So they are always on the field. So that logins they are sourcing, they are bringing to these locations and they are processing the file. But if you go to my Virar branch, so Virar branch is on the road side or the road facing branch. If you go to my Vidisha branch in MP, it's a first floor of the road facing branch, main location. Similarly, you go to Bikaner. So Bikaner, this is at the middle of the market, second floor.
so how much would be the difference in the footfalls then? So basically, if this
Visibility, not footfall. Brand visibility, ultimately, you will surprise. There is a complex, and within the complex, if you spread your vision, you will find every maximum NBFC and even ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank in the same complex, Amravati branch. I'm telling you, Amravati branch. Once I enter into the complex, you will find Muthoot, you will find Incred, you will find this one Capri first floor, ICICI Home Finance, then Muthoot Red, Muthoot Blue, everyone in the same complex. This is not because of customer footfall. This is just a brand
I think what
visibility.
he wants to know is how many customers actually come to the branch and convert. Like basically, how many walk-ins do? Is that
This
what
is-
you want to know?
This
Is there a benefit of
No.
having a branch where customer can just walk
Yeah.
in? Is it? Yeah.
Your point is valid. See, if I'm keeping branch in a rear portion, it will not hurt that business very much, because ultimately I have feet on street and they will bring the logins, right? But this is my first primary objective, that login should come. And my second second most objective is what? My brand should be visible into the market, and that is why I will prefer that my branch should road facing or somewhere in the eyes of the public should be on the brand
So basically, our
signage.
model is only fleet on street rather
Exactly.
than we are more targeting those kinds.
So it's not like a mind
Our
recall.
yeah.
It's not a mind recall. It's not B2C
Yeah.
through a branch.
Yeah, got it. Exactly.
If you have a regularly transacting customer,
That's
as in
diff-
case of a
that's
bank,
different, yeah.
it makes people are not going to climb flights of stairs to
Correct.
reach your
Correct.
place of business.
Correct.
Then it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
But we don't have regularly transacting.
Yeah.
But usually NPFCs usually have branches like these only.
Yeah.
They don't.
See,
It's
but-
not
see-
like banks, like
yeah.
it's
So customers would come. I think
how many customers I am having? Hardly one or two maybe.
I think final signing we do at the
Fine.
branch.
So that
I
is
think maybe
again
you
one
are saying this
thing.
because there's not a visible sign out
Yeah.
here, but usually tier 2 in cities, if you see,
Yeah,
at least they have a board visible.
Yeah, like
The-
sir said,
yeah.
there is one place,
Yeah.
one complex,
Yeah, there's a
all
board,
the
you only
NBFCs
hear
are
the
there.
board is
But
not
that
visible, so
logic,
that's
they have
why-
the different logic that okay, there is a one-stop shop.
Exactly.
You go in, you have all the options, you choose the best out of it.
So this is one. So this is how this all marketing and sourcing activity happens. We were into credit.
Credit, yes.
So credit risk management, I mentioned how credit risk management, there's assessment of income, financial credential verifications, touch point verifications that we have discussed to assess the credit risk of the customer. Fraud risk customer, we have risk containment unit, which is again a third team. So sourcing team, credit team, and risk containment team.
Yeah, so if you can explain the difference between risk and the credit that you were talking about.
Risk and
The credit team, you said, right? Like the credit also analyzes on its own, but the risk also does a different service. So if you
Yeah.
can just differentiate.
so yes. So see, credit team normally they are concerned with what is the daily cash flow, what are the business model, what are the cost, top line, profit, bank statement, various registration available or not available. So those kind of checks that is to be performed by credit team. Risk team is having a very specific job. So they are an expert to identify any fraud triggers in the either on the documents, either on the profile, or customer background. So on documents they have a skill set about forensic kind of so that by looking at the document they can identify, okay, this document is having some triggers where fraud is possible. Right? Whereas my credit team, they understand the document with a very basic understanding, and they have an advanced level of understanding about the document triggers. So this is one. Second, they are highly networked with the market because they need to do background check of the customer. So let's say my credit manager will visit and they will understand the financials and everything. But if they missed about some very critical parameter. Let's say customer is politically affiliated. Then my risk team will dig out this information and he will come out. Okay, this customer is having market borrowings. This customer is having political connections. This customer is having bad habits. Sometimes some shallow kind of profile. My FCU person, he will say, okay, this customer is having second wife. so sometime. So see again. So any bad habits, this will affect your repayment capacity, right? Obviously, this is not part of my business rules, but this is an additional triggers.
People also forge bank statements.
Yeah.
While forging that, the fonts. So one bank may have a particular font which they use. So fraud teams have also unearthed.
So that is why I told you forensic analysis of this document. So they have various triggers.
I think
So-
those aggregators only would be tracing that, right? Already, like for us. The
Aggregating services is very completely different.
Okay.
Aggregating services is what they are collecting data from bank. It's a repository, and whatever data banks have, they will share their data with us. So there is no chances of any fudging, correct? Whereas here, customer is providing you a document, or DSA providing you a document, or some third party, or our internal team is collecting the document. But any physical document is having chances of fudging.
Got it.
No, बहुत ठंडा हो रहा है.
So that is
I'm
how
feeling cold.
after
Directly in the
बस ठीक है छोड़ दो हम कर लेंगे.
after investing so much energy to create that profile, then this case is ready for credit decision.
How much time does all this take? Like for the
So
credit team?
turnaround time by average turnaround time, I would say that is 5 to 6 days.
For both the risk and the credit team.
Everything.
And how much they will work simultaneously, but
Yes, this is a parallel activities.
And the credit team would be how much like each branch like for the each
So
branch?
depends on the format of the branch. If it is a fulfilled, just now is mentioned, let's say Jaipur branch or Indore branch, so it's a hub.
Hub.
It's a regional office, so they will have multiple credit managers. Small branch, I will have one credit manager.
Okay.
Right? In a remote location branch, I will have only sales. There is no credit. This is only sourcing locations.
Okay. And the file goes to the
Hub
nearest.
process.
And the risk person also would be where the credit is.
Yes. So after credit sanction, we will have legal and technical activities. So we have in-house technical valuers. We have in-house legal officers. So all property due diligence. This since we are into 100% secure business, so property due diligence is very, very important. So our technical manager visits the property. They will do a complete due diligence like structure stability, marketability, valuation, identification of the property. So there are 5-6 parameters we have defined. And legal, they will do a title search, documentation part, and list of documentation, preparation of LODs. So this is their activity. So title tracing is part of legal, and valuation is part of technical. And after having all these reports, and this file is ready for disbursement. And for each and every activities we have maker and checker. This is in a banking or in a finance.
But many times also the title is not clear. So how do we like for these customers especially the titles are never clear?
That is the reason. So 13-year search, and we require all chain documents, original chain document with us. So see, this is typically limitations from the SRO side, where data are not uploaded on the system. So you can't do anything on this, right? So to mitigate that, we are collecting 13 years original documents. So
The
once
credit team only does all this.
yes. So all documents. Let's say there are 4 chains in the entire title. So all original document will come to us. So if customer is, let's say some customer will say my previous documents are misplaced. I have only latest one. So we say no.
Okay.
because it's a huge risk. We don't know where he has mortgaged the property, or is it genuine, or maybe it's genuine, but the chances of fraud is very high. Right. But once that entire chain is coming to me in original, then definitely I will say, okay, this title is fairly acceptable. So this is the after performing all this thing, this file, then there is NDC check, maker and checker I mentioned. So credit is the maker, operation is the checker. So credit will do all the review of the file by sanction condition, legal condition, technical condition, FCU. There are so many conditions. So they will check and they will confirm, okay, this all are in place and this is ready for disbursement. So they will recommend for disbursement, and then this file will
we come into picture.
This file will then ultimately move to operation for customer onboarding. So before that loan document execution happens at the branch level. So credit manager will execute the loan documentations. He will collect all indemnity. He will take that DPN and everything. And then after file plus the loan documents, this will be handed over to ops for customer onboarding process. So now ops is a gatekeeper. He is the tiger. He will say, okay.
You are the tiger.
Yeah. He will not allow.
That's the toughest part, because there is always a clash between the sales and the operation per se as to ये disburse क्यों नहीं हो रहा है. So we are just a gatekeepers, but yes, we ensure so whatever documents which have been checked and forwarded to us, it is again being rechecked as per the non-discrepancy checklist which we have. So the best part is we are getting this updated in the system itself. So we have Indus, which is the main loan originating system, and the LMS. So, and the best part is even in credit, even if a credit manager, if there are hierarchy which is built in the system itself. So if an ex-credit manager is supposed to, has an authority to approve a 15 lakh loan, and if the loan is of 25 lakhs, it will directly go to the next level. And the hierarchy, the last level of hierarchy is with Bhavesh sir. So the end decision maker is so whatsoever file which gets stacked up, so he is the ultimate
So he's a
decision
senior
maker.
tiger.
Yeah. So on document per se, we as an operations we undergo and we go through each and every document which has been forwarded to us, and then against that, if there are certain approvals which are required, in case if we are not comfortable as an operation saying that yes, we would require a mandatory details of this particular or an approval from this particular hierarchy, we may ask for that particular details. And unless and until the approvals are not provided, we will not go off with the disbursal. So as he rightly said, we are the gatekeeper, so we have to be extra cautious about it. Apart from once the disbursement is done, so there are other back-end processes which happens. So within the operations, we have central operations teams as well. So our stage starts from getting the CKYC done for the customer, the SI updations of the customer, and then there is a welcome. Once the disbursement happens, there is again a welcome calling which happens to the customer, informing them that okay, whether there are a few checklists which normally an officer asks the customer on the phone, saying that okay, whether all the details were provided to you, whether the rate of interest, whether there was any kind of cash or anything in kind being asked to get this loan processed. So all such details are, and this is on a recorded line. So all these feedbacks are taken, and accordingly there is in case if we find any discrepancies in that particular welcome calling checklist, the details are forwarded to the risk containment unit, that is risk unit. They do an investigation again as to whether there was any kind of foul play which has been done, to get the disbursement done. Apart from this,
So just what will the rejection rates of yours? Like whatever files come from the credit team after various checks and everything, what would be your rejection rates? In terms of whether you will go ahead with the disbursement or not?
See, there is a to and fro, but the rejections would be minimal. Why? Because if I ask for a justification, if there is a proper justification with an approval, I will go ahead with the disbursement. So the first
rejection,
level,
but rejection at an operation level is almost nil. The reason being your due diligence is over at credit stage.
Right.
So either in terms of legal, technical, credit, RCU, all the checks are in place and they have validated, okay, this is doable and this is fine. Yes, subject to certain conditions. Now, operation rule is to validate whether these conditions are properly fulfilled, whether KYC compliance are in place, whether that mandatory compliance as suggested by RBI is available. So they will check the compliance part, that compliance part. Okay, there's loan documents are properly executed, they are properly stamped, or stamping is available, signs are available, requisite affidavits are available. So they will check from compliance point of operational. See, they are the custodian of operational risk. So operational risk is more towards compliance part. Right? So they will ensure, okay, whatever processes, whatever policy stipulates, that is in place and this is good to go. So once all the conditions are fulfilled, then only they will allow that customer to be onboarded. So this is how operation functions. But rejection at operation stage is nil, almost nil.
So it's only that when we see any kind of discrepancies, either we will say that okay, you provide us with a particular approval or a clarification on that particular discrepancy. So we would not reject it upfront saying ki, no, we will not disperse. Yes, we would ask for a clarification as to what this discrepancy is for, and in case if there is certain things wherein we would require an approval, we will ask for an approval. So this is how the disbursement happens. Once the disbursement happens, it is the handover of the checks to the customer, and the original documents of the customer, that is the original property papers, are handed over to the operations. Post a legal getting it duly checked along with the list of documents. The legal team provides us with the list of documents as to what all are the documents available in the original property papers.
So all the customers, where are all the documents stored eventually?
This is stored with our vendor, which is Stock Holding Corporation, and we have another vendor called as Iron Mountain.
Okay.
So the original property, we place a request to get these documents collected. So they come with in a van, which is basically a fully waterproof and fireproof van. So they collect these documents, they barcode it in-house, that is before collecting, they provide us with the acknowledgement, and then this is taken to the vendor place. And same way with the, in case if I have to retrieve this particular files, I have to place a request, the documents are arranged at our branches and then they hand it over to us.
Stock holding and other one?
Iron Mountain.
Iron Mountain. So you can use this one for gold also? For collection?
No, for gold we have got strong rooms, so they will
Okay.
gold will be.
So these are two for the document type
Only for
of,
document. They specialize in document storage. They are vendors to many other companies, even for banks. But for gold, we have already built strong rooms in each of the branches that we are going to
and it
launch
should be on.
later this month. Yeah, with I think AI artificial intelligence systems to unlock it as an open it. So those all security measures have been put in place. So these are as we understand some of the latest, probably the latest system that's available in the market for strong rooms.
Sangeeta, if you can just give an example, like when you said during the welcome call also sometimes you find some discrepancy. Like what do you mean by that? Like
what happens is at times the customers are in touch with the middle agents.
Okay.
So who connects with us? So at times what happens is there are few transactions which happens between the middleman and the customer. But for the customer, it is basically when I call him up, I have the level of the customers we have. They may say that okay, I have
discrepancy means here you need to say, let's say now check to be handed over to the customer, but there are certain documents are pending from the customer side which customer is not aware about. But meantime that welcome call goes to the customer since we have opened the customer for that loan account. So customer will ask you, okay, I am waiting for check. So my operation team will update, okay, these are the few pendencies that you need to complete because you have given declaration at the time of opening account. So provide those documents and you take your check. So those kind of questions from the customer comes normally, right? Otherwise, all the terms and conditions are being conveyed to the customers at the time of loan document signing. So there is no such queries from the customer side. But normally, this what type of documents to be submitted or any pendencies. So that only.
Middlemen, you mean by those consultants that you're talking about it, the customer?
Yes,
Yeah.
certain
So
documents.
RMs are like in touch with both the consultant and the customer.
Correct, perfect. Sometimes yes, few customers. Sometimes they are some middleman, or they will say. But
So we call them as connectors, right?
Connectors.
Yeah. So these are not DSA type,
Yeah.
but who don't mind getting being paid some small incentive, something which is decent enough to make them happy, but they are not exactly DSAs.
That's obviously by the customer only. They the connectors, they are obviously incentivized by the customer, right?
No.
Or by
like referrals. Let's say
Okay.
referral means, let's say you have some good friend and you will
Understood.
referring to
Yes,
us.
right.
Then definitely we will pay some referral of incentive to you.
Yeah.
So this type of payment.
So on customer per se, we have a central team catering to all the customers. So we have a toll-free number, that is one single number through which Pan India customers can directly get in touch with us. We have a separate email team who caters to the emails received from the customer. So we also have a generic ID on which any of the customer wants to share their experiences, requests, grievances, queries. That has been and apart from this, we have branches across. So we have a branch customer care team in the branches, that is in the hub. So any customers want to have a face-to-face interaction, surely he can get in touch with the branch customer care team and they will get this resolved. We have recently brought in the Salesforce Crm. So that is basically an automated service request management system. That is, a ticket gets generated for each and every interactions which the officer happens with the customer. So normally on a call, or be it on a branch, or be it on an email. So it is mandatory for them to create a service request and hand it over to the customer. So accordingly, there is a team which would cater to all this, and we have a centralized team in Thane, basically as a contact center. And even in Goregaon branch, we have moved. We had it in Borivali branch, the contact center. We have moved it to the Goregaon branch.
and after the credit team takes 5-6 days, when after that, how many more days till the customer is onboarded?
So say now our dependency on customer. So once customer is available or document is with us, sometimes documents are put it in a locker. So retrieval of document by the customer will take time. So it takes normally 10 to 15 days for disbursal.
Total you mentioned, right? From
So
when the file comes, like the login happens till the disbursement.
Till disbursement it will take at least 20-25 days.
Okay. Yeah. Then
So that is how. So that is the ultimate cycle, and then customers wherein the loan is closed. So such customers would also visit the branches to get the original documents collected from us. So we have a centralized team that is document management, or you may say it as a record management unit, who looks after the original property papers. So we have hubs, one in Bombay, one in Ahmedabad, and the other one in Delhi. So this team caters to the original property papers. Once the loan is closed and NOC is issued by the central operations team, this documents would be retrieved from the vendor and it would be sent to the base branch where the customer belongs to. So we intimate the customer saying that okay, the documents are available in the branch. We send an SMS to the customer. So with the implementation of the CRM, the SMS are triggered automatically to the customers. So on every request which is created, an SMS is triggered to the customer saying that this is the service request number and this is the request for which you have called down, and the turnaround time within which the request would be closed. So even for basically the loan closure, post loan closure, once the document reaches the branch, a trigger is being raised to the customer saying that please get the documents collected within 15 working days from XYZ branches.
So now to perform all this activity, we have sales mobility, we have LOS for credit underwriting, CRM, DMS, technical mobility, PD that personal discussion application. So many of the things are happen on digital environment. So ultimately, file is not moving from branch till a credit underwriting stage. Once file is with branch credit manager and he recommends to his higher ups, so this entire journey of the file happens through system itself. There is no physical file movement. Even at disbursement stage, once file is completed, that branch will courier that file, and once file reaches at ops hand, then file go to storage. So there is a not many to and fro kind of journey of the file.
So basically, credit manager would keep uploading all the documents on the system, what
Yes.
as and when you would get, and
Correct.
people will get access to that.
So that is why we have DMS.
Right. I think all this has started just after during COVID, or this was.
No. See, certain patches we have implemented during COVID. Certain patches we have implemented just now, like DMS.
Now all branches have the DMS facility.
So DMS we have implemented just now. So now training is going on.
Okay.
So they are now getting familiar with the scanning and uploading of the documents.
Now on the collections part.
Yes. So collection.
The collection team sits here, right here. So yeah.
Collection part.
Some members of the team sit here, but obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, it's again the main team sits in the HO at Lower Parel.
Where is it? HO.
So here collection we have separate that dedicated team, because here you need to be in a constant touch with the customer since from a first month itself, so that customer can pay your EMI through bank first of all, because customer behavior of cash, handling cash and paying through bank is completely different. So we need to educate the customer through constant calling, awareness calling, that pre-EMI calling, so that customer can at least pay his EMI through banking. So this is one activity we are doing. Plus, my collection team is having various strategies for various buckets. So that soft bucket, hard bucket. So soft bucket is 1 to 30. So where sales team is also involved, credit team is also involved for customer follow-ups and ensuring a payment on time. For 30 plus bucket, collection team is involved and they are doing all dunning letters or customer meetings and everything. 60 plus and 90, that NPA bucket where that hard calling or some notices to be given. So we have litigation department. So my litigation department issue various notices and at least try to regularize the account on time. And in case after exhausting all the efforts, if customer loan account slip into NPA, then obviously as per RBI guidelines, we need to wait, we need to initiate litigation under SARFAESI, or we have arbitration process below 20 lakhs. So and 138, that check bouncing 138 is also applicable. So we have multiple options, but our heavy reliance always since it is a secured loans again residential or commercial properties. So SARFAESI is the best tool, right? So SARFAESI, it takes at least 1 year, 1.5 years for a complete recovery of the loan. So because there is certain waiting windows provided by that act itself, so we need to follow that process, and ultimately it takes at least 1.5 years to settle the account. So this is how collection. So collection basically, again, this is a very empathetic approach with the customer, because sometimes this is not always like threatening the customer with the legal bylaws or shouting at the highest. it's not possible. But my collection and as well as sales, they will always remain in touch with the customer, so that they will understand, okay, this is your problem, we will help you out. But so both the approach, that is empathetic approach as well as your real legal actions. So that way we are trying to manage our collections.
How many customers of yours currently pay on time? Like you don't have to put efforts, in terms of collections.
So
They are what percentage are monthly paying their
see,
payments on
I
time?
will tell you. See, let's say my check bounce ratio, that is in CGCL, that is below around 18%. Right now, out of this pool, around 96-98% customers are paying EMI on representation. So that is how you can sense, okay, if you're
Oh, so all the customers are paying.
so 98% customers are
There's no
paying.
cash collection. It's all.
Cash collections is there, but in NP account or in a hard bucket account. Otherwise, 100% payment is through NACH.
Cash collections would be very minimal, and even in those cases, receipts are generated at the point of collection. So even if a representative of CGCL collects cash, the company knows that cash has been collected and receipt has been issued.
That is, we have a separate application, Credit Nirvana. So that happens through this application itself.
No, I'm not trying to understand from the company point of view. I'm understanding from the customer point of view. Like how many of customers are paying cash as like collections and.
That's very minimal, yeah. Yeah.
Mostly they all have bank accounts. Or even if they have banks, but they tend to pay via cash or something. Must be more.
No, that's
So
not.
that is, I told you. See,
That's not happening.
this happens only in hard bucket cases like NP accounts.
Yeah.
So in
Towards the
NPA,
later stage, they would want to just give
correct.
cash.
See, if in NPA customer is paying in cash, then definitely I will not say, okay, no, I will accept
Yeah.
only through cash,
Right.
only through check, right? So wherever customer is wants to clear his overdue amount through whichever mode, then we will accept it. But as Ravi has mentioned, it's minimal, because through NP account, not all the NP account holders are paying through cash, but few of the customers will try to settle the account through cash, and we will accept it. Again, this is subject to income tax rules, where you can't accept more than 2 lakhs or
Yeah.
those things you need to comply.
So this 18% you said that is the bounce rate. So how do you deal with that? Like what measures do you take there?
So I told you, so awareness calling, number one, pre-EMI calling.
Okay, it's the same.
Right. So my credit team, I always engage my credit team who has underwritten the case. So he will be in touch with the customer that, okay sir, your next due date is.
Collection team and the credit team both would
Correct.
start.
So collection is for a field visit, that site visit. But on call, that credit will call the customer. They will make aware the customer about his next due date, and they will pursue it. Sir, if you are not paying EMI on due date, then this is the additional cost you need to bear, plus your CIBIL, that impact on your CIBIL, right? Plus any additional hardship. So that awareness constantly being given to the customers, so that my check bounce can be minimal.
So when is the time allotted? Like the credit team obviously must be giving so and so days. They must be more into the following up with the customer rather than checking the file and the customer, right?
So, but it's not a huge pool. See, in a branch, let's say 5 customers or 10 customers are bouncing EMI out of the total pool.
So it's nothing like there's no particular days given.
No,
They
yeah.
just do
So,
it along
so
with the.
let's say in a day they need to make 2 calls.
Mhm.
So they are traveling, they will call the customers.
Okay.
That-
How is the geo-tagging done? So this is done at the start of the process, right?
Yeah, that is through sales mobility, when the officer visits the customer.
So in application, in mobile application, we have that feature. So for sales mobility, that residence that visit done by RM, so that geotagging will be captured. For technical visit, that property geotagging will be captured through technical mobility. So we have that feature inbuilt feature in that application. Yes, sir.
So how does it help in collections? I'm asking.
So let's say if I want to visit the property, right? So I will use that geo coordinates so that I will have that route to the property,
Okay.
right? And I can locate the property with that geo tagging. In a rural area, you will not have a very detailed addresses. So this will help.
So this is nothing related to property documents or anything. This is just for a path for knowing the route.
This is to locate the property. Like for example, once you start from your house for this office, you will use what? That Google Map. So Google Map is what? This is geo only. Coordinates only. So okay, you will say that western edge, but western edge is based on some geo coordinates. At the back end, they are using that coordinates, right?
Yeah, it's like property survey.
So a collection team visits these places for approaching the customers to.
Hard bucket.
The tagging would already have happened in the sales mobility app.
Yeah.
It's more of a tracker for the collections team when they visit for a collections.
So collection को बंदे को जो है ना उसको एक प्रॉपर्टी दिमाग में रहती है ये उस they are least bothered about geo coordinates because they know property by name. Mr. श्यामलाल मुखर्जी तो बोला हाँ वो हनुमान जी के मंदिर के पीछे वाली प्रॉपर्टी उसकी.
I think this would be more like a authentication कि ये प्रॉपर्टी यहाँ पे थी, ये प्रॉपर्टी यहाँ पे थी, मैंने उसे टैग कर दिया, like barcode कर दिया मैंने कि ये किधर थी. Tomorrow if somebody else puts a claim on it, they have like a digitized barcoding on it.
So Geo will help you out to take you through that property and identify the property financed by us. And also in technical, let's say I am sitting in Mumbai and some proposal is coming to me. So I don't know for each and every corner of India, correct? So I will go to technical report. In technical report, geo coordinates or geo images are given. So I will say, okay, what is the surrounding development? Is it good, average, or bad, or poor? So I can make out from those geo coordinates. Plus, I can say, okay, this is near to highway, or is there any issues in terms of development, surrounding development, so that I can use those judgment by using geo coordinates, right? So that I can say, okay, this property is doable, this property is not doable, or I would say, okay, in this area we will do maximum 10 lakhs rupees loan, not 50 lakhs rupees loan, because I have not seen any surrounding developments on these geo coordinates.
So there is always a collateral for all the loans.
100%.
We don't do unsecured loans. 100% collateralized, and typical LTVs are 50-55%.
So do the customers give the check, or the collection team only has to go and collect the checks from most of the customers?
Yes.
Customers don't deposit their checks or something.
They have that privileges. They can come to our branch and they can deposit the check. But normally our collection goes and they will collect. We can't wait. Okay, customer will come and they will deposit. So it is better if customer is committing, my collection will rush and he will collect.
So your LTVs has also moved up recently. The last 2 years में 5% increase में 47-48% था, 52 हो गया ना.
Below 50, it was below 50, but it's now nearing to 50 only, not?
Yeah, so means are you planning to increase it further? We
Not
600% collateralized.
We have increased our LTV by 5% in last year, not last year, but 6 months back. Right? And that is the impact of that LTV is inch up by 3-4%. But it's not a very significant jump in LTV.
No, but I am saying there is enough room, right? since you're 100%, it's a 100% collateralized business, there is enough scope to.
It's also got something to do with the ticket sizes we are comfortable with. So we may be getting properties that are, let's say, worth 4 million, but we don't want to do ticket sizes more than 2 million. So that naturally caps the LTV of the loans that we.
But we are comfortable. We are comfortable with 55% bracket. The reason being higher the equity, higher lesser the chances of default. Always, this is the thumb rule. So if customer equity is high, then my credit risk at comfortable level.
Once gold loan comes in, then LTV would.
Gold loan is different. Gold loan average LTV would be always 70-75%.
Yeah.
Because it's a liquid asset.
Yeah, so it will go up, right?
That is
Eventually,
fine. Because where you just sell gold and you will recover money. But here, if I want to sell the property, first of all I need to follow that entire process of 1.5 years. Then I need to wait for auction, and then in auction I need to have a good buyers like you.
And how much time it will take? How much time it will take to auction and all process?
So I told you 1 year, 1.5 years.
Yeah.
1.5.
What are yields for home loan and affordable and SME product?
So SME product, that average it comes to around 15%,
Yeah.
and home loan is around 12%.
Less than 12.
Not less than 12, 11.75 something.
Home loan is 11.5 and
So
SME
in
is
quantum,
4.
how much bucket you can estimate in FY23 that will be recovered? Like 1.5 year you have time. So how much in that bucket?
Which bucket?
So we don't have a specific guidance on that.
Yeah, we don't give guidance on that.
But say, I mean, if you have seen our Q4 results, we had some write-offs over there. Some of those were 25-30% of that was purely technical. So it's a matter of time, and we will recover those entire amounts. Some portion of that had stickiness in it and may take some time. But our historical loss given defaults are inside of 30%. We had done a more recent review of data, and that data has also surprised us positively, although we are trying to build a cushion from a ECL and coverage perspective. So net, I mean, if your question is how comfortable we are, even without a recovery happening, and if things continue as they are, so what we are basically saying is our credit costs are going to be on the lower side in FY23 in absolute terms. I'm not talking in terms of credit cost to a year, but even in absolute terms, from what I think we did upwards of 1 billion in credit cost in FY22, it will be lower, and recoveries if they do come in this financial year, that will be icing on the cake.
I think restructure is very minimal of 12 or 13 crore.
It's not very minimal, but yeah, I mean, if you look at it from a portfolio perspective, so we have got 31 million of SME portfolio, and a chunk of our restructured portfolio, which is 2.1 billion. A chunk of that, 130 million is housing. So if you take that out, then the rest is in SME. So in high single digits. But fine. So I think what we have said is we expect about 25% delinquency to happen in this restructured portfolio, not more than that. 25. Yeah. So let's say 500 million of that slips.
Across industry by 25%, I think.
So we haven't moved that number, and as of now things seem okay. So we are also looking at it. I think recoveries are, I mean, payments are happening in the restructured portfolio also. But we are tracking it. I think we will have a more conclusive number. Not conclusive, I would say, slightly more directional commentary post Q1.
And most of the restructuring on asset class side, it is stage 1, 2 or 3, which one?
Classification is 2.
Is 2.
Yeah.
Totally in 2.
Yes, a very small bit is slipped. So I mean, very small bit. I think it's about 60 million. That's in stage 3. But the rest of it is
nothing is in 1.
Nothing in 1.
Should we take them around now?
if we are done with Q&A.
If you have any questions, we can take more questions. Otherwise, we can have walkthrough of the funds. Whatever you suggest.
And they can also talk along the.
Yeah. So Sandeep, walkthrough करवा लो. ठीक है.